Um, so this is a very different Linda Blair than I'm used to. Let's talk about Code Red's newest release of Savage Streets. Hey everyone, I'm Ken with Mid-Level Media, back again today for another Blu-ray review, and today we are going to be reviewing Savage Streets from Code Red. Code Red is a Blu-ray distribution company, a boutique Blu-ray distribution company that I have covered on the Physical Media Report numerous times, but this is my first actual release that I have purchased and watched at home, and I have to say, I was pretty satisfied for the most part. I have some critiques, I have some positives I'm going to point out in my review, but overall a satisfying experience for my first Code Red release. If you do not know who Code Red is, they started around 2006. They started with DVDs and they basically specialize in these older like action, horror, cult retro classics from the 70s, 80s, 90s, that era. Basically a lot of these Blu-ray companies are doing nowadays with your Vinegar Syndromes, your Mill Creeks, just kind of bringing all of these movies back that other companies may shy away from. They really dig into those back catalogs and pull out some of these obscure classics from back in the day. But before I get into the actual review, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you guys, please, if you haven't yet subscribed to the Mid-Level Media channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of great, amazing physical media-based, movie-based content on this channel that I would definitely love for you to come and check out on a regular basis. And also comment down below if you have seen Savage Streets. What are your thoughts on the film? Are you familiar with Code Red at all? Do you want to get more into Code Red? Of course, I'm going to leave the link for purchase for this down below. So if you hear and you like what I have to say about the film, you can hit that link and order it for yourself. So getting into the actual film itself, I'm going to talk about the movie, then we're going to cut to a quick unboxing, which I actually have some pretty cool reversible cover art to show off with this release. Then we're going to come back and talk about the visuals and the audio and the special features. This movie is directed by Danny Steinman. It is starring Linda Blair, of course, from Exorcist fame. Now, the director, Danny Steinman, actually directed another movie that I have actually reviewed on this channel, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. That is why I was kind of fascinated by this film, because if you have ever seen Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, it is a complete departure from that entire franchise. It is so tonally different, and not just what it does with its story, because if you don't know, Jason isn't even the killer in that movie. It's very weird and strange, but just the tone that movie strikes is just completely different from any other Friday the 13th film. And it's very like exploitive, it's very nudity driven, and kind of raunchy in that way. So this is another movie that kind of falls in that camp, and it is very much in line with his sensibilities as a director. So as for the movie itself, it's a fun, pulpy, 80s nostalgia-fueled trip of violence and revenge. So I was entertained. I can't say I wasn't entertained. I watched this movie the whole way through. I think it's about 93 minutes. I was super entertained the entire time. Linda Blair plays this high school student, but she's like the leader of this like girls group of like women that go out into the streets at night of LA. She's kind of like the ringleader of the group, and then they come across this other group of thugs. They kind of get into it. Something happens involving her sister, who is deaf, and that kind of escalates into rape and then murder, and then Linda Blair coming back to get her revenge and just kicking some ass. So it's a trip for real. There's a lot of violence in this movie. There's a lot of nudity in this movie. There is a lot of language in this film, and yeah, it is driven purely by the 80s. Like, it feels of that time period when you're watching it. Some movies were made in the 80s. This was made for the 80s, in the 80s. It is just like one of the most 80s movies I've ever seen. The soundtrack is freaking insanely awesome. I love the soundtrack. I love the music in this film. The actual path to revenge itself, Linda Blair actually getting her revenge, and all this stuff doesn't happen at the beginning of the movie. It is a slow burn into the series of events of escalation that lead to Linda Blair getting her revenge against this group of thugs at the very end. So it's a very slow burn of escalating events that leads to this final confrontation between her and the thugs. And it is a glorious confrontation. It is everything that you would hope to expect from this kind of movie. Linda Blair, who I've only seen in The Exorcist. I haven't seen any of the Exorcist sequels. I think she was in the movie The Night of the Comet, which is a Scream Factory release that I need to own. But I haven't seen anything else that she's done other than The Exorcist. So this is a very different Linda Blair. This is a Linda Blair all grown up and ready to kick some ass, and she's absolutely fantastic in this movie. As I imagine a lot of people got to experience this back in the 80s, knowing Linda Blair as the kind of sex icon that she was at that time, and for good reason. She's stunning in this movie. She kicks ass in this movie, and she is great as this kind of lead character. Badass vigilante. This movie is a real mishmash of tones. Now, it is going for this kind of over-the-top schlocky material, but it also presents some really disturbing stuff in it as well. There is a rape scene in this movie that if you were sensitive to that type of stuff, which back in the 80s, they didn't care. They would put anything in movies. And I doubt this film was like a huge box office critical success, but this is a really like in-depth rape scene. If I do say it stays on it for a little bit too long, in my opinion. It's about 5 to 10 minutes, and it goes through like all three of these guys like basically raping this young woman, and it is completely horrifying and disturbing, in my opinion, a little bit unnecessary. But yeah, that just goes into this director and his style and sensibilities and what was acceptable back then. That something like this, I can't imagine flying in a film that came out today. I don't care how indie it is, how under the radar it is. I just don't think that people are going to shoot this type of rape scene in the way that it was done in this movie. Almost filmed like almost comedic in certain parts. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that that much at all. But yeah, other than that, the performances were fine. You know, everybody outside of Linda Blair is okay. The thugs, I think the lead thug guy, I don't know the guy that played him, but he's pretty good. He's pretty menacing in that role. The rest of them are kind of laughably bad and just kind of goofball tropes of what you would expect like an old 80s kind of greaser thug to be. There's one guy that feels like he was straight out of the Greasers from the 50s in the group. So for the movie itself, guys, it's fun. I had a good time. I was entertained. There's a lot of good action, a lot of good gore, a lot of that good old 80s nostalgia schlock. So I will give it a 7 out of 10 for the actual rating of the film. So with that, guys, let's cut to the quick unboxing, and then we'll come back for the visual audio special feature breakdown. All right, so welcome to the unboxing portion of this video. We have right here, guys, Savage Streets from Code Red. This is Linda Blair on the cover. She's got that iconic vigilante outfit. She's got a gun in her right hand right there that's shooting a spear out. She never actually has a gun in the film, but she does have that bow and arrow crossbow weapon at the end of the movie, but it's not a gun. So that's a cool little kind of twist that they put on that weapon there. You have the 4 thugs right there at the bottom, right below her. You have the Savage Streets that's kind of in red brick right there. This is just really cool artwork. Really cool artwork. They raped her sister and killed her best friend, an eye for an eye, which is pretty much the synopsis of the film right there on the front. The gang war of the sexes. So yeah, right here, guys, we have the spine. You have Linda Blair up there. You have Savage Streets with that brick font. You have Code Red. You have Blu-ray at the bottom. Let's look at the reverse of this. We can zoom in up here on this quote. I loved it. I found it genuine blast from start to finish. A heavy dose of unadulterated fun. That was Christopher Kulik at DVD Verdict. Right there, you have some images from the film. You have the synopsis right there. I'll zoom in on that, and then I'll zoom in on these special features, and then we can zoom in on the actual cast list. And right down there, you have the specs of the film as well. Let's go ahead and open this up, guys. Right here, we have this disc artwork. It's the same as the cover, but really cool artwork. I enjoy this disc artwork right there. So pop this out, and this does have reversible cover art, which we will go ahead and reverse and show off to you guys. Really cool reversible cover art. Right there, I'm assuming this is the original poster of the film. That's a lot of times what these reversible cover arts do. And yeah, you have another quote at the bottom, a revenge sequence rooted in Eastwood and Bronson, but more vicious, more personal. So yeah, this is a really cool cover as well. I like this cover also, but I do like the actual Code Red artwork just a little bit better. So right here we have a different font work for Savage Streets on the side. You have Linda Blair up top. You got Code Red. Let's flip it again. We got some different inner images here on the back. Some really cool images. That face right there, Linda Blair, very psychotic. I love it. Awesome scene in the movie as well. Right there on the synopsis, you got all the same stuff right here, guys. So, yeah, guys, this is a great package for this release. I am a little disappointed that there is no slipcover. I wish there was a slipcover, but for the actual packaging, I can give this a 7.5 out of 10 for the packaging. Just wish it had a slipcover to just put it over the top. So let's get back to the image quality, audio, and special features portion of this video.
All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed that quick unboxing. Let's get into the visual quality of this release. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. For the most part, it was pretty clean. It looked really good. You know, with the restoration of these old classic 80s movies, a lot of them probably weren't kept in the best shape over time because a lot of people, I can't imagine a lot of people really cared about the preservation of a film like Savage Streets from back in the day. Some of the scenes in the beginning in particular that was at night before they got to the actual streets of LA kind of looked a little blurry, a little fuzzy to me. So I didn't think that that was good, a little bit of the lower quality side. So for the visuals though, most part it was good, but there was some areas where I had some issues. So 8 out of 10 for the visuals on that one. For the audio, I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10. Like I said, it's a great soundtrack. Everything sounds great, kind of integrated in with the talking and the noise. Didn't have any issue there. Like I said, I'm watching this with a sound bar. I don't have the full 5.1 speaker setup, but this film does offer that for those that do. But yeah, the audio for the most part, good. I give that a 9 out of 10. Let's go on to the special features now. For the special features, I was a little disappointed. There's just a series, a bunch of interviews. A lot of them came from past DVD releases. There are some retro interviews that actually I think were conducted back in the 80s right after this film was released. So nothing really new that was added to this release. So that's why I was a little bit disappointed. I would like to have seen like a making of documentary, maybe bringing some of the cast and crew now into it, talking about Savage Streets, maybe some people that kind of grew up on Savage Streets that are famous now talking about the film. That would have been pretty cool. But overall, it is decent special features. I give them a 7 out of 10 for that, guys. So for the overall, that is a 7.5 out of 10 for the packaging. That is an 8 out of 10 for the visuals, a 9 out of 10 for the audio, and a 7 out of 10 for the special features, with a 7 out of 10 for the movie as well, bringing us to a 7.75 out of 10 for the overall score. When it comes to these boutique Blu-rays, you're not really gonna get that better of a price. They don't really go down as time goes on. A lot of times they go up in price. So if you like this movie, if you're interested in this movie at all, I would recommend picking it up if you like these kind of films. Like I said, it does kind of lean a little bit into the exploitation realm, but if you can handle that, if you can stomach that, I absolutely think that you'll enjoy it. So with that, guys, we are done with this review. Thank you guys for watching. Please like this video. Also comment down below your thoughts on Savage Streets. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on all bell notifications for future videos, and we'll see you next time.